As regards the ADC, Dr. Abati, you called it rightly. There was a lot of legal mismanagement in the ADC case from the start. Because what the Federal High Court told them to come and do was to come and show cause. They didn't need to go to the appeal court. Then the appeal court effected status quo antebellum that we now had to go to the Supreme Court. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not even sure that the judgment had been given in the Federal High Court. No, because it was just interlocutory injunctions being filed, and they were asked to come and show cause. So why do you take 3 steps where you could have taken the first step and you caused a lot of problems for yourself? So now the ADC too has been able to waste their own time in all of this. That's one point. So now they will have to come back and show cause. But I also hear that the judge taking on that case has been elevated. So in wasting their own time, they will now have to reassign. How long will that take? When will that judgment come out? My advice for them is this is the time to start talking to NAFIU if they truly want to get something out and be able to get some leeway as regards time before that judgment comes. The second point, and the most critical point, is a judgment that happened on the 29th of April, which is about the state chairman. I think that's even more substantive because that judgment has nullified all the David Mark faction has done. Because if those state chairmen go with that judgment from the Federal High Court and go to INEC today and say, this, we have a judgment, David Mark faction will be in trouble. David Mark faction, leadership of the party, will be in trouble again. So I would like to advise them. I think it's time to go and beg those state chairmen, because they were trying to impose themselves on those state chairmen. I also heard on good authority that the reason why the conundrum happened with those state chairmen, they tried to remove them, is that some people wanted to put their people in the position of state chairmen leading up to when they are going to be able to select presidential candidates. So it was a fight for the presidential candidates, and the state chairmen felt disgruntled. And that's why they went to court. So can they quickly go and beg those state chairmen, bring them on their side so they can have unity before they now go to fight the NAFIU? But even with fighting NAFIU, they have to be able to beg NAFIU, because they have also wasted their own time. And all of this, the race is for the end of the month, because end of the month they have to get a candidate one way or the other.
Now to the basic issues. In the case of ADC, the Supreme Court ruled that the appellate court erred, arrived at its ruling per incuriam, particularly by the preservatory order that it issued, in other words, to preserve the rest in the matter. And then to go on, it also erred, so said the unanimous decision read by Justice Garuba in that matter, to now say they must go back to the status quo ante bellum. Now, that has been a major source of controversy. So what the Supreme Court gave the ADC was a partial victory. And it was on the basis of that that the INEC went ahead and then listed the names of Ogbeni Rufai Aregbesola, Senator David Mark, and my former teacher. He was Dean when I was studying law at Lagos State University. That's Professor Osereme Osumbo, who is the National Legal Advisor. So the INEC also showed good faith in that regard, that this is the latest development. However, the ADC, David Mark-led group, did not succeed in the other matter about the original case, I think in the court of Justice Emeka Nwite, which had originally said that the matter, having come before the court by way of originating summon, that the David Mark-led group should show cause, why the court should not, proceed against it, why it should remain the constitutional authority. Now the Supreme Court has said, go back to that Federal High Court. And that's where the problem is. And that's why I think that the celebration by the David Mark-led group is premature. There was a lot of celebration, everybody dancing and all of that. But in that regard, the Supreme Court upheld the position of the Federal High Court. So the matter is going to go back and start afresh. So why this celebration? And the question you ask is, what next for the David Mark-led group? The matter is further complicated by the fact that everybody is claiming victory with that Supreme Court ruling. Dumebi Kachiku says, oh, this is an affirmation that what was done originally was wrong, and his group is the right group. Nafiu Balagombe has also come up to say, no, people are misinterpreting this judgment of the Supreme Court, that in fact the Supreme Court was giving victory to him. But the matter now has been returned back to that Federal High Court for it to be determined. Now, what comes out of there is what will determine what is next for ADC, what is next for Atiku Abubakar and the other interested parties in the presidency, namely Mr. Peter Obi, namely Mr. Rotimi Amechi, namely Dr. Rabiu Kwankwanso, and all the parties involved. So it seems to me that they are jubilating rather prematurely. However, the ADC has set up a jubilation party, a dance party, and they've even added that they still want Professor Joash Amupiton to be removed, or for him to resign as the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Committee. They also have to deal with the ruling from the Court of Justice Joyce Abdulmalik, who said that the David Mark-led group, whatever it organizes, should not be recognized. There is also another case by, I mentioned his name yesterday, Doman, Mr. Doman, who took a case to the Federal High Court in the matter of, the constitutional authority of the David Mark-led group. That also, judgment has been given. That's the judgment of Justice Joyce Abdulmalik, right? So what next? Then what next with the other matter that some persons took to the court, and the Attorney General of the Federation also got involved in it, to the effect that certain political parties, ZLP, Accord Party, ADC, and two others, will have to be disqualified because they have not met the required threshold, constitutional requirement. So we ask the question, there's still a lot of uncertainty in terms of what the future of the ADC will be.
I only told Obi last time, I said, please, whenever you are coming, because of the hostile environment in this state, when you came last time, people died because money was given to thugs. At the point of sharing, they started killing themselves. So when you want to come, let me know so that I will provide you with security. Where did I go wrong? I'm trying to protect him. And I'm telling you, I know nothing about what is happening to them.
Constitutionally speaking,
let me tell you.
Why must any citizen inform you before they come into your state?
Sure, when you were coming, did you not tell me?
Because I have a job to do. I wanted to interview you.
When,
because I
let me tell you, reason why
to have an interview.
He is a VIP. And for him to be protected here, so that things that happen will not happen, he needs to let me know so that I will provide security. The police are there, the DSS are there. It's costly.
Are you afraid of the opposition?
What should I be afraid of them when I'm doing what the people want? I'm doing what the people want.
Peter Obi is the nemesis of your party.
No, Peter Obi, look at him in his state. Can he even deliver his state? What happened in the past cannot happen now.
Why not?
Because you have a working governor in Edo State. And people love him.
So if President Tinubu or the APC wins in Edo State, and that becomes the only state that president can win, do you think that the president has the popularity enough to win?
My brother, we have 31 states or 32 states right now. If President is not doing well, I don't think all those governors will move to APC. And let me tell you, President Tinubu is popular. I don't know where you are getting that theory from, that President Tinubu is not popular. He's the most popular person right now in Nigeria.